It's Numistaki here for a special video. This one is a really special video. I know I sometimes say this video is special and then it turns out only to be moderately special, but this one is genuinely special and hopefully one that you will enjoy and consider worth watching. As you guys saw from the stamps, this is a delivery from Japan, and it's always interesting to get something from the other side of the world. You never quite know what you're going to find in the box. There's a few coins to show you, but also some other interesting things. Have many of you guys been to Japan? I almost went quite a long time ago, and I ended up going to visit Malaysia instead, which was really nice, but I still would like to have a trip on the Shinkansen, go to Kyoto. So, feet first. This is a self-portrait. No, this is a famous Japanese woodblock print of a famous sumo, and this also arrived. I think it looks edible. Maybe it's made of fish. I don't kind of know what it is, apart from being something that's an edible large million billion ginkgo yen note, but it kind of looks pretty cool. And I guess at some stage I'll open it up and see what this fishy bill tastes like. A bit of crazy one, that one. So before we start looking at the coins, I'll just play you a little bit about Coin Connection. When you're buying modern coins, you need a trusted source and keen pricing. So I've teamed up with the Coin Connection to give you 2% off any purchase with a special code until the end of February 2019. At checkout, just use FEB19. I guess when your grandfather's grandfather was really, really young, some interesting things were happening in the coin world. It was a time of trialing new things, of power and beautiful engravings, and sometimes we're lucky to see the residues of that bygone era unfold before our eyes. The coins that I want to show you today, there's a few extras, but mostly they're 1826. 1826 is rather important in the coin world because they trialled proof sets for the first time. It wasn't really an issue of a proof set. Very few of them exist from 1821. And then they tried hard to get a market, to build a market for these proof sets in 1825, and they issued some patent proofs. But the first proper proof set issued by the Royal Mint as a kind of major production was in 1826. So I guess a few years time, it'll be the 200th anniversary of this, and maybe there'll be a special sovereign to mark the occasion of the first proof set. I don't know, but what I'm going to show you today is some coins that come out of that first 1826 proof set. The king that you can see there is George IV, so son of George III, the Mad King, and Prince Regent. I think if you saw a British series called Blackadder, then the guy who was in one of the Blackadder, Blackadder 3, is it? I think so. The Prince Regent was George IV. Of course, in real life, he wasn't a thin, scrawny thing like on TV. He had a waist of 50 inches, and he spent his reign trying to improve the portrait and look of himself, because I don't think he really liked or enjoyed the way he looked in portraits. So we've got here, these are pennies. But in Victoria, they turned into kind of a little bit thinner, smaller kind of offerings. But these are pretty chunky, really nice, heavyweight, traditional old pennies. There's two here. One's a 63 and one is a 64. They're what's called bronzed proofs. So there are actually, I think, that exist a few not bronze proofs. Most of these proofs were bronzed in this way. That was the way they were presented. There are differences between these proofs, particularly other proof pennies. I'll probably make a separate video to show you a few of the differences between these pennies, because not all of these pennies are basically the same. So although there is a proof 1D, a proof penny, there's actually quite a few different subtypes. And I think I'm giving you a little clue here in this bit of video, but I'll make another video and explain just about these proof pennies, because they're quite interesting in their own right. One of the nonsensical things about proof sets that has always struck me as a little bit weird and crazy is the way it's quite often that the lowest value coin in a proof set is the lowest monetary denomination. All the mintages are basically the same. The level of rarity is the same, and yet a farthing might sell for £500 or £600, whereas a half crown might sell for £3,000. A sovereign might sell for £8,000 to £10,000. Why is that? It doesn't really make any sense if you think about it, does it? Because the material value of these coins is inconsequential. It doesn't matter that one's made of copper, one's made of silver, and one's made of gold, because people are buying and interested in buying this kind of item because of its historical and numismatic value. But so, I mean, if you want to venture into this particular type of proof, these coppers actually provide quite a good inroad, and they're quite interesting in their own right. They're quite difficult to photograph, I can tell you that, having tried to spend some time photographing them. Not easy to photograph at all. But of course, when it comes to value, people are attracted naturally by the shininess of gold. And so you can see here the Japanese label on these. A lot of British coins went to Japan, and now I have been trying to do my best to bring a few back, the few that I possibly can find a way to buy. And incidentally, I had to sell a lot of coins again at a lower value to even be able to pick up these kind of coins. They are not inexpensive, but my strategy, and you may have known that from previous videos, my strategy is actually to have fewer items in my collection rather than more items, and to have items of a higher amount of historical value and rarity going forward. That may or may not prove to be the right strategy, and but that is the path that I'm following at the moment. Not in totality, but I think it seems like a pretty good path to follow. So the coin that hopefully you're still here looking at this, and that you haven't kind of gone off to look at some fast supercar or something like that, because this is a pretty amazing item. There are allegedly only around 150 of these sovereigns that were minted in 1826. This one has got a DCAM designation, which is Ultra Cameo in NGC language, and it looks really, really nice to me. I mean, I think I'm really, really pleased with this. It's a 63 Ultra Cameo, which is not bad for an almost 200-year-old coin. And one of the first things I look at, and you can see here, I've kind of gone into it a little bit. There's the area at the centre, that little shield at the centre is the seme, and in that there are 8 hearts to be counted. You don't have to count them. It'll probably drive you mad counting hearts, but believe me, there are 8 hearts in there. Interesting, the one that I showed you a few months ago that I bought at the Charles Vander collection, that's only got 7 hearts, and that's a little bit more unusual and a pattern, and that was really the pattern for what this coin is, the 1826. But you know, it's not for everybody. It's quite away from collecting and stacking bullion, but I really like coins with a historical story to tell, and I think the reason that I'm attracted to pre-Victorian proofs at the moment is because, the way I figure it, there's a lot of stuff with Victoria's head on around. She reigned for a long time, and the reign of George IV and William IV was actually very short. So there's very few coins which are around with that portrait on. So it's something that is not for everybody. A lot of people prefer this kind of thing, but maybe for the moment it is for me. So let's just talk about this for a change. Change of pace away from 1826 and back to 2017, although of course this celebrates the 200th anniversary going back to the sovereign of 1817, so it's not too far removed. This is a 5 sovereign gold piece, a proof, and I was sent this to pass to somebody else who's bought this, which I will do. I'll be posting that out tomorrow. And the final coin that I want to show you in this group is one of my other favourites. I think also a really historical coin. 64 is a good grade to buy this coin in because there are quite a few around. It's not incredibly expensive, although they've gone up quite a lot in the last 5 or 6 years. But a 64 cam, one of these, is actually a really nice mid-range coin to have in a collection. And the half sovereign, like I was saying with the others, the half sovereign is every bit as rare as the 5 sovereign. And if you look at the relative value of the 5 sovereign compared to the half, it's for no good reason much more valuable. So maybe if you start focusing on the smaller coins, then that's where the potential gain is in the future going forward. Hope you like this very special video and look forward to your comments as always.